Back up. That guy's not playing Why, you should not. Yo.
This is an expose from Vice magazine, a short excerpt from 10 years ago about the Chabad movement and the persistent problem of child rape in that community. This is the article. It says, quote, Rabbi Nuchem Rosenberg, who is 63 with a long graying beard, sat down to explain what he described as a child rape assembly line among sects of fundamentalist Jews. He cleared his throat. I'm going to be graphic, he said. On a visit to Jerusalem in 2005, Rabbi Rosenberg entered into a mikvah in one of the holiest neighborhoods in the city. He said, I opened a door that entered into a schwitz. Vapors everywhere. I can barely see. My eyes adjust. I see an old man my age, long white beard, a holy-looking man, sitting in the vapors. On his lap, facing away from him, is a boy, maybe 7 years old, and the old man is having sex with him. Rabbi Rosenberg paused, gathered himself, and went on. He said, quote, this boy was speared on the man like an animal, like a pig. And the boy said nothing, but on his face, fear. The old man looked at me without any fear, as if this was common practice. He didn't stop. I was so angry I confronted him. He removed the boy from his penis, and I took the boy aside. I told this man, it is a sin before God. What are you doing to this boy's soul? You're destroying him. He had a sponge on a stick, and he hit me across the face with it. How dare you interrupt me, he said. I had heard these things for a long time, but now I had seen. And the article goes on, it says, the child sex abuse crisis in ultra-Orthodox Judaism, like that in the Catholic Church, has produced its share of shocking headlines in recent years. In New York and in the prominent Orthodox communities of Israel and London, allegations of child molestation and rape have been rampant. The alleged abusers are school teachers, rabbis, fathers, uncles, figures of male authority. The victims are mostly boys. Rabbi Rosenberg believes around half of young males in Brooklyn's Hasidic community have been victims of sexual assault perpetrated by their elders. Half. Ben Hirsch, director of Survivors for Justice, a Brooklyn organization that advocates for Orthodox sex abuse victims, thinks the real number is even higher. He says, from anecdotal evidence, we're looking at over 50%. It has almost become a rite of passage. Raping boys, by the way.
Plaintiff commenced this action pursuant to the Child Victims Act, seeking damages for alleged sexual assault he suffered when he was a student at Educational Institute Oholei Torah. Oholei Torah is an educational institution that seeks to offer boys of Chabad Lubavitch families, ages 3 to 18, It is in this environment that plaintiff met Avrohom Charitonov, and allegedly suffered repeated sexual abuse, without any intervention from defendants, since plaintiff's parents did not live in New York. From the start, plaintiff was lonely and needed guidance. His friends suggested that he confide in their young teacher, Charitonov, who was also viewed as a mentor to the students. Plaintiff approached Charitonov and asked him for guidance. This was the start of an allegedly abusive relationship, in which Charitonov used his role as a teacher and role model to sexually abuse plaintiff, repeatedly, in Central Yeshiva's dormitory, and convince him that this was an appropriate part of his training. Charitonov soon began to stroke plaintiff all over his body, and forced him to touch his genitals, and then to keep stroking him until he ejaculated on plaintiff's stomach. He began to force plaintiff to perform oral sex on Charitonov, and then Charitonov would forcefully perform oral sex on plaintiff. Charitonov's sexual abuse became much more intense and more forceful when he started to take plaintiff to the mikveh, located at 394 Kingston Avenue, Brooklyn, New York. Charitonov rubbed his genitals on plaintiff's face, and then ejaculated on plaintiff's face. It was at the mikveh where Charitonov started to force plaintiff's face into his buttocks and force plaintiff to lick his buttocks and his entire genital area and behind. Plaintiff felt disgusted and confused.